there, gang. I'm meteorologist Matthew Cappucci. If you've ever looked up in the sky, been outside, or frankly otherwise existed, odds are you've seen these before. Little lines of water vapor in the sky behind airplanes. We call them contrails. They've been around as long as commercial aviation and jet aircrafts, but now they're the subject of yet another wild conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theorists call them chemtrails and believe they contain chemical biological agents sprayed for nefarious purposes. Now, these conspiracy theorists can't say who's flying the planes, where these planes come from, or what the purpose of any of this is, but they're very firm in their convictions, albeit very wrong. Unfortunately, society is becoming scientifically illiterate and increasingly credulous. People used to take pride in their education. Now they take pride in ignorance. And America is becoming a breeding ground for these wild, outlandish conspiracies. It's no surprise that even politicians are now perpetuating these wild, baseless claims. Denver's News 9 put it best.
It's almost like a religion of thought. They believe the government or some shadow organization deliberately sprays chemicals to control our minds or to alter the weather.
Like Michigan State Representative Josh Schriver, who on March 20th proposed legislation to ban chemtrails. Announcing a bill that seeks to ban something that doesn't exist is, at least in my mind, a wild political strategy. Imagine telling taxpayers you are using their funds to try to investigate Bigfoot or catch the Tooth Fairy. Schriver is also currently working on a bill to try to ban pornography. Now, I'm told I'm not supposed to make sarcastic comments about that, so instead, let's just enjoy this stock photo of Schriver. Clearly his Happy Meals did not contain enough science. But let's talk some science. Contrails form for a couple different reasons. One is the simple introduction of water vapor in an otherwise cold and dry part of the atmosphere. That can make a cloud. Other times, dirty airplane engines produce itty bits of soot and microscopic particulates. Those provide nuclei for suspended water droplets to freeze onto. That makes ice crystals and, once again, a cloud. And other times, the shape of the wing slicing through the air generates low pressure. That low pressure can also make a cloud. It's basic science. But most conspiracy theorists shun basic science. Either they refuse to learn it, or they just reject science altogether. They feel a sense of empowerment and belonging in refuting something they don't have the education or ability to understand. Unfortunately, this includes a lot of other politicians too. A similar bill was introduced in Florida by State Senator Ileana Garcia back in November. She also retweeted several notorious conspiracy accounts and posted photos sent to her by constituents depicting nothing other than ordinary contrails. According to her bio, her prior careers involved being an influencer. There's also no university listed in the education section. Now she wants the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to open up a public tips line for reporting contrails. Once again, a great use of taxpayer money. She also wants to maintain a database, which would require hiring more staff. If you want crazy people reporting ordinary contrails, just go online to Twitter. People like Garcia are the reason the federal EPA has to have a literal contrail education number.
Thank you for calling the EPA Aircraft Contrail Helpline. The EPA is not aware of any deliberate actions to release chemical or biological agents into the atmosphere. Contrails are line-shaped clouds or condensation trails composed of ice particles that are visibly left behind jet aircraft engines under certain atmospheric conditions and at times can persist.
Tennessee, meanwhile, has introduced similar legislation. So has Kentucky. Josh Hodgson introduced House Bill 22 the first week of the 2025 session. Now, the bill doesn't say the word chemtrails, but he did on Facebook promise a constituent that addressing, quote, chemtrails is, quote, on the agenda. Now, contrails do have a very minute effect on the Earth's weather. They make the skies a little bit hazy and more overcast, which at night traps outgoing long-wave radiation or heat, causing the Earth to warm very slightly. It's the equivalent of having a single 65-watt light bulb to warm an entire football field. Now, the whole contrail chemtrail thing is just one of many new conspiracy theories becoming mainstream. Back in the autumn, meteorologists fielded thousands of comments believing the government was either controlling, manufacturing, or steering hurricanes. I got accosted at a bar in Louisiana last June. Weather radar is somehow now a conspiracy theory. The moon is a conspiracy theory. 30 years ago, we would hospitalize people who believed in imaginary things. Nowadays, we elect them. Most of the time, there's a simple, legitimate explanation behind things. You just need a little bit of science. That's my take. I'm MyRadar Senior Meteorologist Matthew Cappucci.
Follow MyRadar on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Download MyRadar on iOS, Android, Amazon Alexa, and Windows.